Two-day GST Council meeting has begun in Delhi, chaired by the Union Finance Minister. It will include the finance ministers from every state and union territory. The stage is set for the next generation GST reforms as promised by Prime Minister Modi from the ramparts of the Red Fort on Independence Day this year. Remember, the GST Council is likely to discuss rate rationalization and slab restructuring among other important issues. If there is consensus, remember, then we can expect a bonanza for consumers. But listen in to what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said. In fact, Prime Minister Modi, if you remember, from the ramparts of the Red Fort at the Red Fort on the 15th of August this year, had said that there will be next generation GST reforms, and that is something that is the core agenda of this GST Council that has now begun in the national capital. Of course, it is being led by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Extremely crucial if we see the kind of reforms that will be discussed under GST, and we can expect, some sort of changes coming into the entire restructuring, and therefore, a trickle effect, of course, being felt by consumers. But what's important is that slab restructuring as well as rate rationalization, these are, two important things that will be discussed. Of course, there will be other issues as far as the entire reform of GST is concerned. Extremely important, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the government making sure that, this entire GST reform is smoothened out. It is made easier for the end consumer, and that is the core agenda, the priority of this meeting. At this point, as we speak, this meeting is underway. It's being led by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and is being attended by the finance ministers of all states as well as union territories. These are the latest visuals. Remember, viewers, whether we will have a consensus or not, we'll have to wait and watch. But if there is indeed consensus through this GST Council meeting, remember, GST 2.0 is something that we can expect. It's going to be a big bonanza for all of the consumers, and that is something that we'll have to wait and look out for, whether finally after this two-day GST reform meeting, GST Council meeting concludes, whether we will have those big changes coming in. Now remember, just one day before the GST Council meeting, the Finance Minister had said that next generation reforms in the GST will make the economy open and transparent, and that is something the government is focusing on, has been reiterating. It's also expected to reduce compliance burden and enable small businesses to thrive. That is something the Finance Minister has made clear. My colleague Pragya gets us more details. Pragya, get us an understanding of what is transpiring in this meeting at the moment.
Well, there is a proposal for from the union government. In fact, and UM has also put in their reports, in fact, on life insurance, health insurance, and also the rate rationalization. These are two important developments that are going to take place in a GST Council meeting today. Remember, the government has proposed that there should be at least only two slabs, 5% and 18%, and rest of the slabs should be done away with. The idea is also giving impetus to what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on 15th of August, that there should be a reform that is needed in simplification of GST, and also the common man used goods should not be taxed so much. So almost everything that common man uses is categorized under 5% category, from 18% or 12% to 5%. So 99% of the categories that were in 12% earlier will now be categorized under 5% if this is approved. Now, what are these opposition rule states are saying? Apart from Aam Aadmi Party and Tamil Nadu government, they are opposing health insurance and also, the medical insurance, also saying that this cannot be exempted. However, this proposal had come from the West Bengal also, and Centre said that we are okay with doing away with the exemption on health and medical insurance, as this directly impacts the people's health and also their well-being. So there are some states who are saying that we need concessional compensation cess, because there will be loss of revenue is the major concern of all the opposition ruled states, and in fact they are going to raise this in particular meeting. Now the center is saying that we also will face loss, not just you, but we will try to compensate for the larger good of common man. If you are not in for it, then we will vote. And in fact, there are many BJP ruled states as well. If there is a voting, then certainly the proposal of the center will be passed with a majority, and it will also mean that this implementation of new GST rates and lessening of GST on many of the common man goods like toothpaste, stationery, and there are medicines also like cancer medicines. They are exempted from GST also in this particular new proposal that has been sent by the government. Smaller cars will have lesser of the GST. Earlier it was 18%, now it is 28%, now it is going to be under 18%, and also the bigger car will have more GST, which will fall into 40% of the tax slab. So there are item-wise tax slabs also here that are going to be discussed. It is a very long, lengthy meeting, but these are revolutionary GST reforms that are going to be approved today in this particular meeting. We are also
we have to, of course, wait and watch, how this really moves forward and whether there is consensus. Because remember, viewers, the states have, expressed concern that there will be revenue loss for them. Whether or not that is taken into consideration and finally a consensus is built, we'll have to wait and watch out for this entire meeting, the two-day GST Council meeting, to conclude tomorrow. Pragya, thanks very much for joining us. At the moment,